Okay. I don't know what the fuck just happened. I just blocked out there. Like, what just happened? What did I do? I swear, officer, I didn't fucking blow him. His dick just fell into my mouth. Now you, officer. Why don't you put me in some cuffs, daddy? Okay. Okay. God. So one of my goals in life is to make older white people uncomfortable. You know. But anywho. Okay, so. Gotta suck that dick. Howdy. Okay, so. Left off at my dad works at Nintendo. So yeah, this is like approaching age 13. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I started to kind of get a little bit more aware of social dynamics, social hierarchy, and what that meant for me is like realizing that like I did not fit in and I was an easy target. It used to be that like kids would make fun of me and I would just laugh along because I didn't get the joke. But then I start to get the joke and then I start to get to know like, oh, like, you know, they're making fun of me. That's what kids do. They're mean. They're stupid. Make fun of each other. It started to kind of get to me. And eventually, I mean, by 13, I was severely depressed and I started to isolate myself socially. And eventually I had my first suicide attempt at age 13. I'm not going to go into details because I know about triggers and stuff like that. Not here to talk details. If you want the dirty details, DM me. Like, honestly, I love dirty details, but when they're appropriate. I just felt really lost, and I mean, looking back, like, I mean, I guess I was, you know, taken advantage of in a certain way, or just for me, the situation of, you know, when people laughed, I laughed because, you know, I was half, you know, before then I was like half deaf, and, you know, I just mirrored whatever people are doing. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on because all I hear is so if people are smiling, I'm gonna fucking smile. But then just kind of realizing like, oh, they've not been laughing with me, they've been laughing at me this entire time. And I didn't know what I could do. And I always, you know, I just felt very inferior to other people or, you know, other peers. And that I guess the theme of this, what kind of led me to that was just this feeling that I couldn't do anything right. And just this really pervasive message that I got that, you know, everything I touched would just instantly shatter. And even like, you know, no matter how soft, you know, I was with my touch, that things would shatter. And then people would be like, why'd you do that? And I'd be like, I didn't mean to. And so, yeah, it was tough. And then also around this time, in terms of family dynamics, things started to kind of change. I mean, teenage years, I think, well, what was happening is, you know, my older siblings, you know, they were establishing their friend groups. And for me, I was, you know, losing my friend groups and just very hesitant to even like talk to other kids because the shit that was going on. And I mean, I've always been very flamboyant and very energetic. Middle school, like the kids, they're like, "Oh, you're gay," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." But then, like, someone started spreading rumors that like I was gay, and that's when my friends started to like really start to kind of pull back from me. It was the kind of situation where it's like I'll go to the table, be like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And then like, uh, they just ignore me or pretend like I wasn't there. Damn. See, this is okay. This is the thing about me is like whenever I talk about something, it's like my brain doesn't know that it's not happening. So it's like I just get like fully transported into the past. So, I cry very easily. I love crying. I love crying. I love exploring, stuff like this. But, also, if this is at all, it's moving. The ghost of Roosevelt. Ah, okay. Anywho, throughout these videos, if any of this is ever at all triggering to you, for God's sakes, please pause the video, take a deep breath, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. Just a heads up, like, things are gonna get really fucking wacky. Things are gonna get really, really worse from this point on in my life. And we're gonna be talking about some very dark things. What's more important to me is that you all protect yourselves. If this is in any way going to be triggering for you, please pause the video. So yeah, and then, just there was this, I started to pull back from people because I started to realize how weird I was. But then also people started to pull back from me because, they thought I was gay. And I didn't even know what gay was at the time. Like, people were like, "Oh, you're gay." I'm like, "What is gay?" I wasn't sheltered. It was just that all the things that like all these other kids were talking about, I just wasn't really interested in exploring it. I've always been very late to trends just because don't particularly care for them, and also, why follow trends when you can make them? Guess how many trends I've made so far? 0. Okay. Well, maybe the long hair. I started growing out my hair like a long time ago, and since then, like, other people have done it. But at the same time, Jesus did, and he got nailed. It's been a while since I've been nailed, but I've been told I look like Jesus. Okay. Bring in the ADHD. Bring in the ADHD, baby. Okay. Suicide attempt. Just social estrangement, and didn't really fit in. And both me removing myself and other people being like, "Ew, get away from me. I'm going to get AIDS." I don't know if that was a joke they made. If they didn't make that joke, they fucking would have missed out, because it's a stupid fucking offensive joke that takes like 0 brain power to make, and it's not even funny. That's what makes it funny. I know I don't look it, but I'm a quarter Filipino. My lola, she's Cebuano, from the Philippines. Her parents are Manong generation immigrants. Manong generation immigrants, I believe they were post-World War II. There's this like mass influx of Filipino immigrants to the United States from the West Coast. But a lot of the Filipino immigrants, they joined the army. In terms of like getting citizenship and all the overly complicated paperwork, that was kind of like the easiest and most assured way to get into the United States, was enlisting in the military. And one of my favorite childhood memories was hanging out with my Filipino cousins. And, just like, I even to this day, like, I still look back on those memories. I'm like when I like adopt my kid from foster care, like, this is the environment that I need to give them. It was such a positive experience, and kind of like this light that I've held on to my entire life, and just been such an inspiration. and but quarter Filipino. And so shortly after my first suicide attempt, we had this Filipino gathering. My Filipino family came to Illinois to visit me and my grandma. This is like one of the most like vivid memories of my life. Um, I remember we had this like, little makeshift table. We had like a bunch of tables that we like, just put together, this hodgepodge of tables. And my Lola, my grandma, she plays piano. She got her degree in piano performance from Marymount College. And my Tito, her brother, my uncle, Cornelio, he was a jazz pianist. And their brother, Manny Manuel, is a church organist, and he's an amazing, like, my Lola tells me the stories of like about how skilled he is in his musicianship. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm in conservatory now, and like, some of my teachers can't even do the shit that he does. It's insane. It's just like this. It's this insanely high level of musicianship that for like Filipinos is just like, especially Cebuano Filipinos. Very well known for our musical talent and all of that. But anywho, so they were Filipino family gathering, and my Lola and my Tito I remember them like starting to like argue about something, and they were arguing about, I think it was like a melody, and they're like, oh no, it goes like this, and then Corny was like, no, it goes like this, and it's like, no, bicker, bicker, bicker. And then like they finally went to my Lola's piano to solve the dispute. And I heard Corny play piano for the first time, and oh God, I was fucking teared when I tell this shit. Yeah, and uh, yeah, and my synesthesia just went wild. Um, like it was the first time I ever heard like seventh, ninth, and 11th chords, and it was the first time I ever heard Corny play piano. And I was like, hiding in a corner playing. I think it was like Game Boy Advance, either Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color. No, no, it was the Game Boy Advance. I think I was playing Game and Watch. Fuck. Yep. I was playing fucking Game and Watch. And like the little like you make a cake, whatever mini game with the conveyor belts and shit like that. Fuck, wow. I was just like, what the fuck is that? I had this habit back then of just like whenever I wanted to smile, I would like, always had to hide my smile, because if I smiled, it's, people make fun of me. I just slowly kind of like tiptoed over to like near the piano room. I didn't want anyone to notice me. I didn't want Corny or Lola to notice me. And, and then I kind of like, they seemed to be like super into it. So I was like, okay, if I like tiptoe behind them, behind their backs, like they won't notice me. But Corny noticed me, and yeah. And honestly, like, I don't know, it was one of the first times like I really like deeply felt noticed in my life. It's just something about the way and just like the nonverbal communication of how he looked at me in that moment. I don't know, it was just like it's like he was like looking straight into my soul and was new. um what I had tried, a couple months before that moment. And rather than like shying away from it, like he's like, why don't you come on over? Um, and he's like, "Do you want to play?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he took my hands and he shaped them to the chords, and I played them, and they're like they're. I'm not sure if if I can even like put this into words, but like there was just something like magical about like me doing something tangibly doing something, and then just like in my brain it's just like, like fucking, rainbows and like fucking exploding and like, powdered. I'm just there's this one artist, I forget her name. I'm gonna put the name like right here, or maybe like here. But she's a synesthete, and she paints, these synesthete things. So I'm just gonna show one of her artworks. This is freakishly similar to what I see. This is insanely accurate to kind of the things I see with my synesthesia. So this is the shit that I saw when uh Corny started playing, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I played, and then I was just like, oh god, I'm coming. My soul was coming. I was underage, so I got to be careful about making sexy jokes. And I asked, my Lola, can you teach me piano? And I was just so excited to get to play what Corny played, and to do my own thing with it, because even before then, the first thing I ever wrote, I was actually like, I think I was 5 years old. This was before I had all the ear procedures, and it was this like really annoying repetitive waltz at the piano. I made that. Sure, it was cool. Didn't think much of it. I mean, like, I did it, at my grandma's place on her piano when she was living in Florida. Like, I did it. I didn't tell anyone. Nobody noticed. I was like, okay. From ages 5 to like that moment when I heard Corny play for the first time, like, I would occasionally like write music in my head. Or, I'd listen to a song on the radio, and then like I'd do something else with it. I remember, oh god, this is one of the most vivid fucking synesthesia memories. So it makes zero fucking sense, because synesthesia makes zero fucking sense. But I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base. That song, the bass hit, the bass hit, the bum bum bum. I don't know what the fuck it was about that sound, but like it was like one of the most vivid like things I've seen. It was like, it's like this like doughy mass, but it's like a balloon, but it has the consistency of like dough, but it was like gray. Like there was like a tornado warning, but because I was like fucking half deaf, I heard the word tomato, and I knew what that was. So like I just pictured like, we were, me and my siblings and my mom, and like we were, we had to like go downstairs because of this tornado warning. And I was just like in the fucking La La Land while my siblings were like, ah, ah, and I was just like picturing like a tornado. Because I knew that, like, with the weather outside, and then like the siren, and I'm like, oh, tornado. But I heard, but it's like I heard, everyone else say tomato. So I just pictured this like tomato, like tornado, but then somehow the fucking doughy blob balloon thing from Ace of Base like got mixed in with that. And every fucking time, I Saw the Sign would come on the radio, I would think of like, tornado tomato. What was the point of that? I don't fucking know. Maybe just to show you like how like over connected and just like nonsensical and disjointed my brain was and still is. Yeah, the synesthesia with Corny, heard those jazz chords, went fucking insane. And it's like I still had like in my mind gotten creative with music before. But then I think just having that moment of, him taking my hands and then boom, that was kind of like a moment when I realized like, oh shit, I can do something. Like all the shit that's playing out in my head, like I can translate that and create something out of that. I mean, like I did art. I was like very inspired by anime, Nintendo, and all the video games I played. So I was a decent, visual artist. But as soon as music came into my life, I was like, oh God, just like swept me up real good. So started taking piano lessons with my grandma, my Lola, and that was like, so from the way that like my mom and my Lola have described it, I just like I just took off. By the time I was like 2 years in, I was playing Franz Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2 very sloppily, but luckily no one else knew that. So I mean, I knew that, which is the most important part. Um, and for me, I with in terms of the lessons with my grandma, how they would go is like, she taught me how to love music before she taught me technique. And that's something whenever I teach students, especially young students, that is the first thing I do. Because if you have no motivation to learn technique or to discipline yourself in order to achieve like a certain goal, like, playing the Paganini etudes, it's not going to happen. Like, you want to fucking like beat your child, corporal punishment, tiger mom bullshit, negative reinforcement. Sure, go ahead, do that. That's like short term. Sure, it's very effective short term, but long term, your child moves out, they're fucking smart. They see through your bullshit. And they're like, actually, I'm not interested. And guess what? I'm fucking 18, so I don't want to do piano anymore. I personally think it's very ineffective, and I think just a lot of the recent literature seems to suggest that it's like very ineffective, and there are always better ways that we can do it. But anywho, yeah, no, my Lola was a very positive reinforcement, love based, and it was like but she exposed me to a lot of the music that she played in. She actually composes still to this day. When she got her degree in 1956, her program included Debussy, Rachmaninoff. She played the Girl with the Flaxen Hair by Debussy, Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, the Heroic Polonaise by Chopin, I think one of his waltzes, a Bach Prelude and Fugue, and then two pieces that she wrote. And it's funny because it's like, I mean, I didn't realize this program that she had until like, much later. And it's funny because I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, like these are all pieces that I just like really enjoy. And, we didn't coordinate this. And so, but just throughout the time, there's just been a lot of freakish coincidences in terms of like my Filipino family, their history, their preferences, and just like things that I am like naturally kind of gravitate towards. The Filipino genes are definitely very strong in me, which I'm very happy about because guess what? I get to age good. I'm almost 29. Look at this shit. Look at this shit, motherfuckers. I look fucking good. Let's hope the white genes don't kick in too soon. Stretch. Oh my God, wow, what a great story. I wonder what the next part's gonna be like. Well, good news for you. Next part's right here. Check it out. All that good stuff, and I will see y'all next time.